Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic that stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for one of our departed teachers who retired after 29 years with the district. She passed away, Janet Stinson. She passed away on March 25th, 2021. She was one of our art teachers. Thank you. We will close our meeting in her memory tonight. Okay, can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes of the March 23rd, 2021 meeting?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes of the April 6, 2021 special meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Public forum for this evening? No one? No one. We'll move on to our budget workshop number 5, and the agenda is attached. I'll call Vince Napoli up.
Open up that 4.1.
So tonight is a full budget review. The tax levy has not changed. The tax levy has been filed with the State Education Department. The budget is currently at $55 million, up approximately 4.97%. These details we've seen before. I'm not going to go through the numbers, but they will be available tomorrow on our website under the budget presentation. One of the things that I really wanted to talk about tonight is our state aid and the executive budget. The legislative budget has been passed, and we have seen just over $1 million more in foundation aid. There are some line items in the budget. We're not really sure what stipulations or what governance, and I've got a document in board docs where we know a little bit about how we can spend this money, but we had roughly $9 million in additional federal funding that's coming down through the state. We know that has to do with the return of students safely to schools, with technology, but the guidance is still very limited. We're waiting on that, and once we know it, we will present it to the board along with some documents that go with it. But there is a pretty good README that we've gotten through these NISCUS.
New York State Council of School
Superintendents. Thank you, Superintendent. And that's about a page and a quarter. That's listed as well up on board docs. So we don't know what that $9 billion looks like. But state aid is up considerably. Like I said, $1 million in foundation aid, and some of the other lines are in there as well. One of the things that we talk about during this presentation every year is what does the tax levy look like to a homeowner on their tax bill. So assuming that someone's assessed value of their home is $100,000, I'll use the town of Awarsing as an example. They can see, and this is estimated, we don't know what the assessments are going to look like, which is prepared by the towns next year, but you can see a $39 increase in your tax bill if your home is assessed at $100,000. In the town of Mamakating, it's $63.71, and in the town of Rochester, it's just under $38. And that comes to around $3.13. So this just gives people an idea of what the tax levy how it would impact them next year on their tax bill if their home is assessed at $100,000. Just a couple last questions. If the budget is defeated, what that means is that we take out some mandatory items, some capital expenditures for equipment that are in our budget. So this would be if the budget does get defeated, that would be roughly $475,000 reduced out of our budget. and that could have a negative impact on our programs. The board would have to come up with some way, or administration would come up with some way to shave those monies from the budget. How do I vote? There are registration forms available in the district clerk's office. That's the superintendent's office right on 28 Maple Avenue. You can register with the Ulster County Board of Elections. The vote is happening here right now. This has not changed. We will be voting here in the high school media center. We will be following all COVID safety protocols. It's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. When voters come in, we'll have everything set up like we have in the past. There'll be the carol so they can fill out their ballot. We will be using the electronic scanning machines again. All schools vote the third Tuesday in May. And if you can't make it, there are absentee ballots available in the district clerk's office. And people are welcome to pick them up. And we don't know how many people are going to be absentee voting this year. Some people may opt to do that. Next Wednesday, we're going to be adopting our budget as well as the Boces budget. And the May 18th is the vote for the district's budget. Short and sweet. That's all I have tonight. Any questions?
John?
Yes, Vince, do we have any idea what percentage or what numbers we're getting back of all that foundation funds? And is this, Lisa, part of the money that we've been denied over the last?
Yes.
So do we know what we're getting back?
So this year, I haven't seen a calculation. It was a total of a little over $3.5 million, I think, that we were shorted. So I don't know what the million, this is, I'm not sure of the $1 million we have, how much was our annual increase and how much is makeup, but we'll ask state aid planning for that information. But the good news is that it appears that this is going to happen over the next couple of years. And I say it appears, I'm cautiously optimistic. If we go back to 2008, 2009, when Governor Spitzer at the time gave us the money for the CFE, we got $1 million, and then 2 years later, they took it away. So I'm just hoping, and Congressman Delgado was here yesterday, and it appears that there's a commitment on from the feds and on the state right now to really restore this foundation aid and give it back to us. So yes, that's part of it, and we'll get you a breakdown of how much of this million is part of what we were getting anyway this year, and how much of it is part of the $3 million that's coming back.
And that's expected to be returned over the next couple of years. It's
Right.
not all in one shot.
I just also, I'm sorry, John, didn't want to.
No, I just hope Governor Cuomo doesn't find out there's extra money around because he'll yank it. But
Well, I think that from what I understand if you go back to the state aid review, that $8,951,806 that came from the feds, there's two allocations, a COVID stimulus and then the American Rescue Plan. I think that in the federal law, it was very specific that that money had to go to the schools. They couldn't supplant that money with, taking money out of our normal state aid. Just also to what Vince said about that, some of the things that we've looked at, we're not allowed to spend that $8.9 million in 1 year. That's also a 3 to 4 year use, and it has to be used for non-recurring expenses. One of the big areas is related to the loss of learning, which we could use for, like, just giving you an example, for any kind of supplemental services to get our students through the next couple of years and bring them back.
There's technology,
safety, infrastructure for ventilation systems. So there's, but we don't have the guidance yet, but it's a big chunk, but it's going to be very regulated on how, and I think we're even might have to apply for it as part of that grant process that we have. So more to come on that when we have
will
it.
we be planning to do as much as we can in the learning loss area
Yes.
for our students in terms of summer school?
Yes.
And those types of things?
So in this year's budget, we did add in summer school K-12. We added in a lot of social emotional learning. So we have started that, but this will ensure that we will be able to support that activity and not just, have it in and out. We should be able, the big thing here is sustaining this now for a few years on what we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make one other comment on the state aid review, because this is a question that has come up. You know, we go back and forth when we're presenting the numbers, if we should present exactly what's on the state aid run, and we do. So on a line where it says universal pre-K, this was a little bit of a disappointment for me, or for us. It's the same allocation for pre-K that we had last year, and we can't run a pre-K program on 186,967. So although we include it to show you that we have an allocation, it is marked this year on the bottom that we're not going to be running a pre-K program next year. So we will not be able, that money will not be accessible to us. So if you see the bottom line of the operating aid is 24,417,902, that's less $186,000. So just so you know, it has been allocated to us. So I want to be transparent and include it in there, but you cannot, we don't get that money unless we use it specifically for pre-K. There are some additional regulations with regard to pre-K. If you're running a pre-K program, if other providers would have access to that money too. So I think I reported back out at that, but we did include it just so that we were transparent.
Vince, we are making sure that we're going to have all our screening protocols in place and sanitizing in place for the vote,
That is correct.
and all the steps that are going to be measured to try to keep people as safe as we know.
Right, we'll have security here, and we'll make sure that we have people available to wipe down surfaces, that, you know, the high-touch areas, just to make sure that the community and are safe
Are
when
you
they
having a
come here to
screening
vote.
process? Are you screening them as they come out?
I read something, and I'll have to follow up on it, but we don't have to screen the voters when they come through. I'll double check that with the district clerk, but that's something that I remember reading. So the voters can come in and then they vote and then they leave. There is no, the screening has been upheld during the budget vote, but I'll double check that just to be sure. But that's what I remember hearing.
All right. Thank you. All right, we will move on to reports and correspondence for this evening. I have nothing. Any other board member? Nope. Okay. Move on to Superintendent Lisa Wiles. And by the way, welcome back, Superintendent.
Thank you very much. I just want to take a minute before I start just to thank the board, really thank Ms. White, Mr. Napoli, and the administrative staff in my absence, and the community. Really nice, got a lot of calls and contacts, and I greatly appreciated feeling good and back and ready to push through the next couple of months and then reopen in the fall. So in that vein, New York State Education Department has approved our grade reconfiguration plan. So we'll be moving formally, we put it out there, we shared that, but it has been approved by the state. We are waiting for the accountability designations. Last year, our middle school was had the accountability measure of a targeted school. And we were anticipating that could, another school could. Now without the middle school, they're going to tell us which buildings are kind of under in need of improvement, the old school in need of improvement. So we'll have more information when that comes forward and share the data with you, but that'll be coming from the state. I do want to say that we are, regardless of the designation, many of our schools in Ulster County are, we have really embarked on some very excellent school improvement initiatives, and that will continue whether or not we are we're designated or not. We have school improvement committees that have been doing great work to identify areas and initiatives to improve our ELA and our math, our students' math and ELA skills.
Iris?
Yeah, I just was wondering, now that it's going to be 7-8 and then 9-12, so according to the state, is 7-8 a junior high school? I mean,
No,
what's
it's
the
a
official-
junior, senior high school, 7 through 12.
So then when they designate schools for need of improvement, they would be talking about 7 through 12?
Either 7 through 12 or K through 6.
I
So we
see.
had a couple of areas, K through 6, that we were at risk for.
Right.
So without the assessments, I'm not sure how they're recalculating all of that, but we should have that information. Usually we get that late spring.
But it won't be a junior high is not considered separate as far
Nope,
as the
the
accountability of
building would
that.
be a 7-12 initiative,
I see.
a 7-12 designation or a K-6 designation. I will tell you that we're following the improvement processes for K-6, 7-12, and looking at our data so that if we are, it's good practice to look
Right.
at what you're doing and to see what you can do to do better.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Ars. You good, Lisa?
We're also going to be sending a letter home to parents tomorrow. We'll be having a superintendent conference day on May 19th. That'll go out tomorrow. The New York State Health Department yesterday released some guidelines with regard to end-of-year celebrations such as graduation. The high school has been working with an excellent committee of students, the seniors, about what modifications could be made this year with regard to the graduation celebrations. We'll have more information when that comes forward. They did loosen up some of the restrictions with regard to that, and we're studying that. And I just also want to reiterate that Congressman Delgado was here yesterday, brought some books for our library. Was very interested in hearing about, what our concerns were, and I did talk about, obviously, the revenue and the importance of the sustainability. I also shared with him that, and I think he has the same frustrations or expressed that he would bring back our frustrations about the testing situation this year. After a full year of COVID, the idea that our waiver from the state education department was denied by the feds and that we have to go forward with this 3 through 8 testing. And, Regents is really disingenuous and counterintuitive, to tell you the truth. Their students have been lagging behind. We know that they're not going to do well on these tests, and wouldn't it be better if the feds and the state saved all the money that is going to be outlaid with regard to the creation of these assessments? So I think he gets it, and he would bring back our concerns. For this year, it's kind of done, we believe. But it was good that he was here, and he was genuinely interested in getting feedback. So
Wayne?
that's all I have tonight.
Wayne?
So, Superintendent Wiles, I've heard some rumbling about students being able to opt out of Regents exams for this year.
Yes.
What does that mean? I mean, if they opt out of a Regents exam, so let's say there's a Algebra 1 Regents and a child doesn't take it, do they have to take that before they graduate, or they opt out? And
They do not have to take it before they graduate. If they opt out, they don't take the Regents and they pass the class, they don't have to take the Regents exam. I'm not sure, I don't know that the guidance been really clear if that would inhibit their ability to get a Regents diploma. I do not think it does. I just think because of the pandemic that it's just a waived exam. So it wouldn't hurt, it doesn't go against the student's ability to earn a Regents exam.
So why would they even?
We don't know.
Thank you.
I can't, I don't know.
Check that for us, because that sounds bizarre.
Yeah, so,
Okay, thanks.
All right.
I don't think there's anything else to say. If anything changes and we get any updated, that's your understanding of the guidance.
Yeah, so this, as long as the student passes the class, they can earn diploma credit for the Regents. So students can still access a Regents diploma as well as an advanced Regents diploma, as long as they've met all of the requirements up until this point.
So, Mrs. White, if the child takes the Regents exam and fails it,
Yep.
do they get credit anyway?
So we asked our attorneys that question, and if a student gets a grade on a Regents exam that they do not want to appear on their transcript, they can request that the exemption appear rather than the score, either the failing score or the score they're unhappy with.
Thank you.
I mean, it seems like there's no incentive for them to take the exam. It would seem moot.
There is.
John?
Kelly, is it true that kids that they have to opt into the state testing on the lower levels? At least I'm familiar with the middle school level.
Not opt in, they have to notify the school if they're not participating. They don't,
all students are expected to participate, but as a parent, you can opt your child out of the test.
I know that, but I thought it was different this year that, like at school where I'm at, we had one kid opt in out of the whole middle school to take in. They said they had to opt in. I was confused.
That's the first I'm hearing of
Yeah,
that.
we can double check that. I haven't
Yeah.
heard that.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Superintendent Wiles, and glad to have you back. Also like to thank Mrs. Kelly White, who was propelled into the acting superintendent's role and took on a double duty. And also like to thank Vince for his role as well. But we really appreciate all the hard work you did. I mean, double duty while Lisa was on vacation in the Bahamas. You got stuck doing everything. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
We'll
you
move
for having me.
We will move on to Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Napoli.
Yeah, I have nothing to report tonight, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent Curriculum Instruction, Mrs. Kelly White.
So I just want to make our families of our 8th grade students aware that last week, Mr. Spinelli conducted his virtual open house. He provided a presentation that's available on our YouTube channel for the Ellenville P-Tech Academy. So that's open to our incoming 9th graders. So as I said, the presentation is available online. The application window is currently open, and interested students should submit their application by May 7th. If any parent or student needs more information about the program or would like to request an application, they can contact Mr. Spinelli, the middle school. I also want to share out that we are partnering with Ulster Boces this summer to offer summer school programming for students K through 12. So at the K-6 level, we'll be operating the Summer Boost Academy, which will be an in-person program with transportation provided. The program will be targeted to our students that are not reading and writing on grade level, and the students will increase their reading and writing skills through project-based learning activities, but the program will also have a focus on social emotional learning, such as building students' self-confidence and sense of belonging. For our students in grades 7 through 12, we'll have academic summer school. There's a variety of course offerings. There's going to be 2 options for instructional models. There'll be a virtual option, which will be self-paced within an operating window, so students can work on the material really from any location at any time, although we are looking to provide support for students that opt into a virtual model. But we'll also have an in-person option on site here at Ellenville. We put out a survey on Facebook today just to get an interest from parents if they were to send their child to summer school, which program they would opt their child into. So that survey went out today, and that is not an enrollment form. It's just to get an idea of where we would, what type of numbers we'd be looking at. And lastly, I just want to report out a couple of weeks ago, we had shared that our high school librarian had applied for a grant from the American Library Association, and we were notified that we were awarded a $3,000 grant from that organization to host community events here within the district. So I shall be working on that for next year.
Thank you, Mrs. White. We will move on to personnel resolutions for this evening. Under 6.1, upon a recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be resolved the 2021 budget vote election inspectors be appointed as needed at a rate of $200 per day worked as follows. List has been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Willie?
In favor.
Geneva?
Yes, sir.
Motion passes unanimous. 6.2, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that the following coaches be approved as indicated for the 2021 school year.
Move the list as presented.
Second.
List has been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Mr. President, I know that I've expressed my concern about some of the numbers for these varsity sports, and I just hope that we get numbers that will keep our kids safe. Going into sports with a very bare minimum number of athletes is a grave concern for me as a former coach. And I hope that we'll use prudence that if we don't have those numbers, that we will make some adjustments. And that's unfortunate for both the coaches and the kids, but apparently with COVID on top of everything else, our numbers are very low.
Thank you. You'll monitor
Yeah.
that, Superintendent? The superintendent will monitor that as well and report back to us. We are approving all varsity sports, and where possible, teams can, where it's applicable, other teams can join into the varsity level. Anybody else want to be heard on this? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Willie?
Aye.
Geneva?
Aye.
Unanimous. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be resolved the following teachers be appointed for June Regents Review at a contractual rate of $55 per hour, not to exceed 2 hours per week per subject, effective April 19, 2021 through June 15, 2021.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.4, upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved the following middle and high school extended day personnel be approved at a rate of $43 per hour, not to exceed 8 hours per week per subject area for the 2021 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Thank you. 6.5, long-term sub. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Brandon Costello be appointed as a long-term substitute teacher at a contractual rate of $56,259, step 1, bachelor's plus 0, effective December 15, 2020 through April 8, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Is that a prorated?
Yes, for that period of time.
And so it's prorated of 56,000?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carried. Unanimous. 6.6, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that the resignation of Vincent Napoli, Assistant Superintendent for Business, be accepted effective June 30th, 2021 with regret.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Just like to say, Vince, thank you for all your years of dedicated service to the district. We appreciate all you've done for us. We wish you well in your future endeavors, and we will miss you here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Eva?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. 7.1, student IEPs.
Motion to move 7-1 and 7-2.
Second.
Second.
Motion to move 7172, moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Under 8.1, construction.
Motion to move 8-1 and 8-2.
Second.
Motion to move 8182, moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. 9.1, legal. Anybody want to move that?
So move.
Just one.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
In Geneva, yes?
Yes, sir.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. Under other, 10.1.
Motion to move 10-1.
Second.
Just 10.1?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, because I
All right.
have the question.
All right. Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Wait, you didn't.
Wait a minute.
You jumped
Wait a
discussion very quickly, Mr. President.
I didn't see your hand, sorry.
Okay, I just want to ask, is the village now running Little League? Is that why we signed the lease with them instead of Little League officers?
The lease, go ahead.
No, the lease is with the Little League. the resolution that we put in at the last board meeting was a mistake. So the document is correct, but in the resolution, we put with the Village of Ellenville, and it should have read the Ellenville Little League. So that's the change. That's the amendment to the resolution from the last board meeting.
The contract was correct, the resolution was incorrect.
So
Isn't it
this
still
this
incorrect?
resolution is incorrect?
Read the resolution. It says the same thing. What's the?
It says, "Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the renewal lease agreement with the Village of Ellenville."
No, it says with the Ellenville Little League.
Yeah,
on
mine says with the Ellenville.
With the Village of Ellenville for the Ellenville
Ellenville Little
Little
League.
League's use.
No.
Did we not get an update on this, or did we miss it?
This should say that the lease agreements with the Ellenville Little League.
I'm going to
this is
read the
not
motion.
correct.
Mine says Ellenville.
I will read the motion. You need to refresh your documents, but I'll read the motion I have in front of me. Be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby amends and approves the renewal of the lease agreement with the Ellenville Little League to use a certain portion of property immediately adjacent to the Liepole Athletic Field
That's
as
correct.
is more fully described in the lease agreement, subject to the approval of the Commissioner of Education as required by Education Law, Section 403-A.
So that's correct.
Right.
Motion
So
is
then the
correct
question
as
is,
read.
why isn't
Well,
it correct here?
It's down in the executive content. We put what the incorrect resolution was, and then we highlighted what it is. So that if you look, the
Under
As the
recommended
board
action
recommended
is what you
action is
voted
what
on.
you're
With the
voting
village.
on tonight, but further down, under executive content, we
Right.
shared with you
Incorrect.
the incorrect one, just so that you could see what it was and now what it is.
I'm confused.
That's, yeah, so
So
maybe
the-
trying to clarify confused.
Okay.
The motion that I read on the floor is correct, and the
And
motion
that's
that was
the one we're voting on.
moved and seconded is also correct.
Mr. President, with all due respect, and I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody, but I opened this up this afternoon and I saw the same thing that Iris saw. So I know we make last minute changes sometimes. I don't know when we did that, but could we maybe do that a little more in advance as we look
Sure.
at these things?
If I refresh my computer, will that come up?
Take a look.
The the recommended action, so under the executive comment, the recommended action should be correct. So yes, we will make sure that that's done ahead of time, but I don't know, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Confusing.
Right, but up
Yeah.
above I had the other thing.
Not a serious.
We won't
just
put it
wanna
in,
waste.
yeah.
If they're looking at it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to the whole Little League. My apologies.
No, John, it's confusing. It is confusing.
All right, so we are correct. The record is right. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Willie?
Aye.
Aye.
And Geneva, yes. Opposed, no one. Motion carries unanimous. On to 10.2. Calendar. Resolve the 21-22 school calendar be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on this. All those in,
I guess one question. We get officially adopted in July at the reorg meeting, right?
No,
Or
we
this is
usually
now?
adopt it in the spring.
Oh, okay,
March or
because
April.
it also says draft on my.
Well, it's
paperwork.
draft till the board acts on it, so it'll be,
Okay.
it'll get
Okay.
changed tomorrow and say approved.
Very good.
Is this the real calendar or the executive council?
It's the real
I
calendar.
think it's the
What's
real
the
one,
difference?
John.
somebody escort him out, please.
What's an executive calendar?
I don't know. The last one had something executive, so I just figured that's what it was.
What?
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Willie?
Aye.
Geneva?
Aye.
Okay. The next meeting is next Wednesday. That's our only Wednesday meeting that's scheduled on the calendar, and it's for the approval of the Boces budget as well as ours, and that will be April 21st, 2021. The meeting after that will be April 27th,
If we meet.
if needed. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? We're adjourned.